Hi, it's Anna here. Thanks for tuning in. So in the past on this channel, I've mentioned that I actually have done a video that's called Know Where You're At, Know What Stage You're At. And this is one of my core message based on my journey. And in that video, I was talking about it at a micro level. So in your own personal journey, knowing what stage you're at and constantly coming back to reassessing that allows you not to get stuck on or to see your blind spots as well, to make sure that you continue. There's a continuous forward movement. But today I want to actually talk about it at a macro level, um, in terms of what are the impulses that are, working through us as a collective, so that we know what to actually focus on. Um, and I know, a lot of this information I've found from a channel that I really recommend. This is Gigi Young. You can find her on YouTube. Just know that I don't always agree with everything anyone says, which is great. It means that you're sovereign, right? But she's got amazing information, amazing spiritual information. And she's actually talking a lot about this at a macro level. And it was very interesting for me to realize because I've been talking a lot about it at a micro level. But these are my words though, that I'll be discussing based on my own experience. But go check her out because if you are very focused on this journey, she's got a lot of information that I recommend. So the first one that I want to mention is that this ascension process that a lot of people are feeling, this impulse to start the inner work journey, is a shift in paradigm towards truth. So we're shifting towards seeing truth with a capital T because there is objective truth and reality, versus the old paradigm of tolerance at the highest level. So if anyone has gone through narcissism on their journey up until this point, you will have realized that we're living in a society where tolerance has been viewed as the highest value in a society that's steeped in narcissism. And so obviously it creates so many issues for everyone, right? When you no longer ask people to change and evolve, and you no longer call people out or ask them to rise in character and keep them accountable because you view tolerance and peace as the highest paradigm, it creates so much turmoil for everyone, and it creates stagnation and ultimately devolution for a lot of people. A lot of people have had to spend years healing from this. So we're moving towards a new paradigm of seeing truth as the highest level. And there is our own truth, our own personal truth on this journey, and also truth on a higher level that tolerance is not the highest truth. It's balancing love with wisdom, realizing that true love is not tolerating abuse, it's not enabling poor behaviors and characters. It's not wise to love people who abuse us. It's not wise to love people who project so much onto us. It's just not wise. It creates all sorts of issues. And at worst, it actually creates a lot of health issues, right? Like it's not all a joke, right? Like a lot of people think it's just all an illusion and stuff. Like, no, death is real, right? There are real consequences to what we allow in our lives, and this is what we are all waking up to, so we can, be here and live a more peaceful and joyful life and be here for our kids, right? So this is the first thing, understanding at a macro level that we are not moving into a paradigm where we continue this tolerance above all else. We're moving towards truth with a capital T. And so I've done a video as well on explaining that truth has to be your North Star. You can't get things wrong when truth is your North Star. You might get confused at times, but you always come back to that and you ask your higher self for that guidance, for that truth constantly. Okay, the second thing that I want to mention is that the true impulse of our time is seeing evil and facing evil. And so I realize that that goes against what's very popular everywhere, especially in pop culture spirituality, that will tell you that evil doesn't exist, that it's a false paradigm, that we're moving away from that, that it's all a projection, that it's basically a low level of consciousness. No. Whilst, yes, you're taking yourself out, right? You rebalancing the light and the shadow within you. You're bringing yourself out of the entire dichotomy, so to speak, right? It still exists though. So you can't, it's this quote that I can't remember the exact word, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. It's this quote that explains that when you get yourself out of the fire, right? You're good, you're in your higher levels of consciousness, you're in peace and joy, right? You don't turn around and say there's no such thing as evil. I mean, it might be true for you right now in your life because you've done so much work to free yourself from all of that, right? But no, you come back and tell people there's a fire and you need to get yourself out. I just don't understand this mindset. And there's something wrong there. There's something not healed in people who say that. And I don't understand it, so I'm not going to spend time talking about it. So seeing evil, facing evil, it's a thing that Rudolf Steiner has talked a lot about in his books. Again, I'll recommend going to Gigi Young. Her channel on YouTube is amazing. There's also Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who actually has a book called Seeing in the Dark. And she talks a lot about this in her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. You cannot heal without seeing reality exactly as it is, without seeing people exactly as they are. There are people, most of us, not everyone, we haven't had the same experience. A lot of us have people in our life who will manipulate, use, and abuse us until we're literally on our deathbed, and they will still ask for more. We are surrounded by people who do not care. They've lost their spark. They've lost their divine spark in their heart. So you need to be able to see that. Now, it doesn't mean that you lash out. It doesn't mean that you become combative and divisive and all of that. But you need to be able to see it. And you need to be able to love yourself so much and realize that what you have in your heart, this empathy, this willingness to be wrong, this tolerance, all of that is actually coming from such a pure place that it needs to be protected at all costs. And so that's where righteous anger comes in. And I've done many videos on that. So I'll refer you to the video on the righteous anger, dark feminine, right? Righteous anger becomes your liberation. It is key to your liberation because you have to tap into that fire to reignite that spark and to really see yourself for who you are and say a resounding no. Finally say no to the bullshit. Like you need to come to that place of frustration where you've had enough and you will no longer tolerate this in your life. You need to love yourself enough to see that. You need to want to protect your soul, to cherish your soul. You've been given a soul. You need to cherish that. So I cannot stress that enough. At a macro level, you need to see evil. That's the impulse of our time. If you're not seeing that, if you're not, and I mean, I'm not, I think some people have different language and different words. So I'm not talking about semantics here. I'm talking about people who are truly lost and are not, understanding that there is true evil, whether they haven't faced anything like that in their life or they've been abused so much that they just can't cope and hold that truth. Because I'm not going to lie, holding that level of truth takes a lot of strength. It takes an extreme amount of level of spiritual maturity. But I mean, regardless of what's happened in your life, though, you can just look at the world. I do not understand how you can look at the world and not see and feel that pain and that compassion for people. And the third one that I want to mention is individuation. So whereas in the past it was more, family and collective, and which goes hand in hand with the tolerance as the highest level. Um, what I'm seeing in my journey, and so many people that I've spoken to and that I have in my life on this journey, individuation is the name of the game. So this word comes from Carl Jung, so I'll refer you to his work on this. But this is this path of going within, finding what's true for you, finding your the path to your true personal liberation, which is going to be different from one person to another, and it's why you have to tap in. You have to reconnect within, to reconnect with that intuition, with that inner guidance system, so that it always guides you. You can't follow what someone else is doing because it's going to be different. There's no one size fits all here, and that's where issues arise. If you are following the collective still, if you are following the blueprint that someone else has and not tapping within, you're going to be led astray. You're not going to come to a true transformation. So that has to be understood, that it's a path to individuation. Now, it doesn't mean that you become antisocial. You can still have some friends, but you need to understand that you will understand that once you understand the concept of individuation, you will understand that your guidance system is more important than what someone says, and whatever someone says always needs to be run through past your own inner guidance system. You will also understand that it's more important to liberate yourself from toxic people in your life, distance yourself from that. Actually, your true transformation depends on it. Because ultimately, I've mentioned the concept of coming back to harmony, right, within. If you want your entire body to harmonize, your cells to harmonize, you cannot put yourself through toxicity and abuse constantly. It's just not going to work. So you are becoming an individuated, empowered, pure, spiritual, truly connected from within, unified from within, and you can still have relationships, but that has to come first. Does that make sense? So that's what I had for you today. I wanted to call out those three things. I actually would love for you to share if you think there's something else that you've experienced, and put it in the comments for myself and for everyone. I'm always keen to hear everyone's stories, and for people to share their wisdom. But yes, I've realized in my life that understanding the macro level of in knowing exactly where I'm at has been so important and so transformative, that I also see that if you understand what the true wisdom of our time, the true impulse of our time is at a macro level, then you also can't get it wrong. Confusion and stagnation and running through looping really comes from not understanding this. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.